Hello guys and gals of the internet, certain gals of YouTube with a face burnt as fuck. I do apologise if I look completely horrendous today. But it was so worth it. And I'll explain a little bit more in a second. This is the 7 Chaos previews of July 6th to July 12th, 2015. It's such an ironic one this week. It really is. Because I've pretty much just come off the back of my first ever British Grand Prix attendance at Silverstone in 17 years. Well, 18 years actually. So the first time in the almost 20 years I've been watching the sport, and finally I get to go. And it was just the most amazing, incredible experience I've probably ever had in my life. It's up there pretty much, and maybe even beyond, my first Manchester United match attendance at Old Trafford. It is pretty much exactly the same magnitude. Watching stuff live is a complete different kettle of fish to the TV. I mean, the most critical thing about F1 this season from a lot of people is that it has been pretty boring, as they say. But I think watching it live actually increases the experience, even if the races are a foregone conclusion. I mean, this year's British Grand Prix was not a foregone conclusion by any means. It was just, I actually thought the Williams were going to pull it out, because it does seem in the early laps that Hamilton could keep up with them, but he couldn't get past them, and it was like, oh shit, Williams could actually win here. And then the rain came down, and it just completely shook things up. Vettel had gone from sixth to third. It was just the most amazing thing all round. Probably the best weekend of my life, bar none. And I think first shout out is to the friends that took us for the weekend. It was fantastic, and a big thank you to those guys. If you think I'm burnt in my face, you should see Leia Tomlin and her friend. Jesus Christ, they're as red as tomatoes. It was completely, they were burned as hell. Which obviously proves that the sun cream we took didn't work, because we did take sun cream and sun lotion, but obviously the sun was stronger than that, so we ended up burning, sadly. Yeah, I actually bought this awesome McLaren t-shirt, and actually what I'm going to show you here, I actually forgot to bring this. Got this hat, got this hat as well, so that's cool. But anyway, enough of that. The irony of this week is the game's coming out. F1 2015, yes, a week after the British Grand Prix, the game comes out. So, and let me tell you guys, I'm excited about this. I really am. You know, it's a brand new game engine for starters. Brand new game engine, brand new handling engine, I think. The handling is going to be tweaked and changed around. The physics are going to be different. I think on the PlayStation 4 it's probably going to be 1080p and 60 frames per second. I think Xbox One is going to try for 60 frames per second in 1080p. I do believe the Xbox One can run in 1080p now, but we'll have to see. In answer to the immediate question, I'm getting both versions. It's a bit of a kind of a thing this year, isn't it? Where I buy both versions of one game. I rarely have to do this, but I think this is probably the second or third time I've done it this year. What was quite funny is that last week MotoGP came out, and I had no idea until like Wednesday that it was coming out. The reason I haven't really done any footage of it is because I suck. I'm much better driving 4 wheels than 2. I am getting there with MotoGP, but yeah, I'm much better driving 4 wheels than 2, so that's the reason for no footage there. And there hasn't really been any footage for a few days now. Obviously at the weekend, we left early in the early hours of the morning, so I couldn't upload at 9 anyway. And I didn't really want to upload anything over the course of this week, because I want everyone to be caught up with everything that's come out so far. Because F1 is going to take the bulk of my footage probably for the next few days after the game comes out. I will try and keep it as low as possible. I do have a few ideas of what I want to do on day one and following the release of the game, which I'll talk about in a second. But this is probably the most ambitious title from Codemasters since they started doing F1 games back in 2010. I have to say my favourite Formula 1 game of those years was Formula 1 2010. I think I enjoyed that the most. 2011 and 12 were improvements, but 13 and 14, I think 13, I think such was the focus of the classic cars in 2013 that I think the rest of the game kind of suffered for it. In 2014, I think Codemasters shouldn't have even bothered with F1 2014, because from what I heard, no one ever plays online. Everyone had done a year in career mode and one and done with the game. And I think that's the big thing about Formula 1 games in general since Codemasters took it. You know, people generally do maybe 1 or 2 seasons of the career mode and are pretty much done with it. The F1 YouTubers are different. They'd probably do like 2 or 3, but not really much online. The later titles anyway. But yeah, that's another thing. The multiplayer is going to be drastically improved from what last I heard. I think yesterday, Codemasters released a blog post on their blog, and they talked about how much the multiplayer is going to improve. So this is a big bulk of change for Codemasters. New game engine, new physics engine, you know, updated graphics at 60 frames per second possibly. Last I heard, they're trying for that. I don't know if they're actually going to reach it, but I honestly don't mind if they do or don't. I don't care. You know, I'm all about playing the game rather than a graphics person. You know, this is completely revamped the entire game. You know, the career mode is gone. I'm getting rather annoyed at these F1 YouTubers that still call it career mode, even though it is technically not that, because let's face it, it's not. I think the biggest emphasis for Codemasters this year was to focus on being the drivers in the sport, because as you know, previous F1 games, you actually get to kind of do yourself and play as yourself in the career mode, and that's what career mode would be. I didn't really make a big thing out of it. I always preferred World Championship mode. I obviously did, especially in the F1 like maybe 95 to 2006. I think, yeah, pretty much. I would just do Schumacher every year, but you know what I mean. I do prefer the more official style of F1. I don't really focus on this career mode as such. I did want to do some footage of the game last year, but I just never really got around to it. And I did do F1 2013 when that came out, but obviously that was with my digital camera footage, and that obviously got took down with the channel reboot of August last year. And I just never really got around to doing 2014, and by then I didn't have my Xbox 360 or PS3, I don't think. Maybe I did. I can't remember. But yeah, the only way I could get it was the PC. I did do some footage, but I never put it up for some reason. I guess I was doing something else. I can't really play F1 games at the moment though, because my PC's, I don't know what it is with my PC. It's weird though, because most of the other games work on the dang thing, and F1 doesn't seem to. Our friend actually thinks it may be the operating system, so I might have to wait till Windows 10 to play F1 again. I'm very tempted, maybe post-release, to get F1 2015 and see if it runs any better than the previous ones. If it does, then I guess I've got really nothing to worry about. In a sense, I just can't play the older F1 games, and if that's the case, then fine, because F1 2015 is coming out, and they're actually going to have the 2014 cars and content from last year in the game, which I think is a good idea. I really do think it's a great idea, because let's face it, everyone, and you know, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One have been out for around about a year. Yeah, they around about a year. And F1 2014, and Codemasters decided to put that game on the current, like the last generation of consoles, if you like. And I'm like, what? Why? You know, the consoles have been out for a year, and apparently Codemasters have been already planning for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One's release. They'd already been planning for it like a year before. They started planning for F1 2015, as it's now called, 2 years ago. You know, so why couldn't they do like 14 and put it on the current generation of consoles that are out now? You know, you wouldn't even doing this like a year or two before the consoles came out. You knew they were coming out. So why on earth did 2014 get restricted to the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC? It just made no sense. I was like, what? Why? The consoles have been out for a year. You've been planning this beforehand, and yet you can only do the release of 2014 on the current generation of consoles. I guess they just wanted to get it out. But if that's the case, why didn't you just drop 14 as a whole and not bother? I guess that probably some of the people would have been annoyed, like no F1 game this year. What on earth's going on? Maybe. But you know, I still, at least they're making up for it this year. They're making up for it in a big way. They're putting the 2014 cars in the 2015 game, which I think is a great idea. I personally am all for that. It gives me a bit more to record when the game comes out on day one as well. Like I said, I've got some plans. I'll talk to you in a minute about it. But yeah, this is really gonna be the title that Codemasters really pushes the game this year. It's got to be, because last year's game was not really a bust, but you know, nobody really enjoyed playing it really. You know, I think we were more bummed out that excuse me, last year's game was not on the last generation of not on the current generation of consoles, if you like, and it was just restricted to the last generation. I think everyone was really bummed about that. No one really had PlayStation 3s or Xbox 360s anymore. Very few people had them, I think, and I think that's why the game online last year pretty much suffered as well. And the fact that it was pretty much exactly the same modes from last year. But like I said, Codemasters got a blog this year, and the co-op, the multiplayer has had such a big overhaul. It looks like it's going to be as fun as hell. So plenty to do in F1 2015, despite the loss of the career mode aspect. A lot of people are really bummed about that, but some of the F1 YouTubers have come out and said, and I said the same thing, if they did put career mode in the game, you wouldn't be able to have, like, see the grid overhaul, and not the grid overhaul, you know, have David Croft in the game commentating, Anthony Davidson and David Croft. They're going to be introducing the sessions. I think that's a pretty good thing that they're introducing the sessions and not talking over the race. I didn't really mind them talking over the races. I wouldn't have minded, but I think it's just better, and it works good for me as well. For another reason I'll explain when I get to the stuff I'm going to do in a minute. I know I'm talking a lot here, but yeah, I am really excited about this game. You know, and you have the actual facial animations of the drivers. The drivers actually look like the drivers. I don't think they're on point, you know, they're not, let's face it, they're not on par with 2K. You know, if 2K did F1 games, you'd see the most amazing graphics ever seen in a sport title. You know, the NBA 2K is probably a prime example of that, as was WWE. It's pretty much 2K's graphical engines are the best out there, aside from probably a couple of other games like The Order, for example. But I'm talking more generally about sports. I think if 2K were able to do F1, by God, it would look amazing. But I've always liked Codemasters anyway. Like I said, I really enjoyed 2010 up to about... I did like 2013, you know, the fact that Schumacher was in the game for the 4th year running, and unfortunately he wasn't for 2014. Yeah, it is really exciting about this game. It's a complete overhaul from last year's, but as I was saying, you know, they had to take the career mode out to have the grid animation thing that you see at the start, before the start of the race. The podium sequences are back in the game for the first time since 2006. That has been a long time waiting, you know. I don't think the formation lap's in it. I think there's a bit of confusion there. I'm not sure. If it is, great. If it's not, it doesn't really matter. From the footage I've seen, I don't think it is. But my friend reckons that we can just turn it off and on. So we'll know when we get the game on Friday. Personally, I can't wait. It's just really exciting. So what am I going to be doing? Well, day one is probably going to be maybe a few races. There's a few things I want to check out for this brand new game, on the new game engine especially. The first day one stuff is probably going to be recorded but not really uploaded on day one, because obviously do like 2-3 videos a day. I might change the format a little bit. I'm going to warn you guys now. I might change my format a little tiny bit. I'm going to explain why. I think the races I'm planning to do from day one to record would be one race, the 2014 Russian Grand Prix, because I want to do the new tracks, especially, well, new track, there's only one this year in New Mexico, or Mexico, I don't know which one it is, but obviously with the 2014 content, the Russian Grand Prix was the new track from last year, so I'm going to do a race there as the 2014 cars, and then after that, following that, I will be doing the F1 2015 season at the Mexico circuit, which has obviously been more revamped than somewhere completely new, I believe. I never really saw the Mexican Grand Prix when it was around before. I only started watching it in 1997, by which case the Mexican Grand Prix had been a few years gone, I think. So that'll be the second race I do. Another one is the Singapore Grand Prix. I want to see how all the new graphics and all the shiny things integrate into the Singapore Grand Prix. Maybe the Bahrain Grand Prix as well. Maybe I'll do both actually. But I think I prefer Singapore to Bahrain, if I'm honest. I say that in as a matter of not really track preference. I just think that Singapore, you know, it was the first true night race for Formula 1, so I'd rather go there than Bahrain. I have no idea why this year's race was in the night time. I guess because last year's one was so successful, and it was. So I guess they just kept it as it was, you know. It works, don't fix it, don't try to fix it and change it, you know. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. So I'll be going to Singapore, and I'll be definitely checking out Abu Dhabi. Now, the thing with Abu Dhabi is, I want to kind of see the transition from day to night, basically, because as you know, Abu Dhabi's time transcends from evening to night, and in 2010 they didn't have it, but after that game they did. They changed it and put it into transcend, which was nice. The fact I'm not sure what to do with it, quite honestly, because if I have to do the race, it's going to be 2 hours now. I can use my video editing to count most of it out, so I guess I could do that, but I think if I did that, it would probably still be quite a long video. So I'm not sure what I want to do with that. I might just fly with it anyway, just let it fly, as Chris Move says. I might just do it anyway and upload it with all the edited out parts, you know, because no one wants to see a 2-hour video. I mean, that's just crazy. And it would take me fucking maybe 2 days to upload with the file size of 720p. It's not as big as 1080p, but it's still pretty big. And my computer, with my computer kind of playing up a little bit sometimes, I don't want to risk trying to put a 2-hour video and then it will absolutely get butchered by YouTube anyway. So, even though they do allow 60 frames per second, that's why I'm kind of hoping with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One that they reach 60 frames per second. I have no doubt with the PlayStation 4 they will, but with the Xbox I'm not so sure. I guess they will, you know, it's doable. I'm also going to be recording on both consoles. I'm probably going to do one race on the PlayStation 4 with the PlayStation 4 controller and kind of talk you through what I feel about it. And again with the Xbox One controller as well. I might do that with the first 2 races, then kind of pick which controller I prefer, and then do the other 2 races from there. This is going to be a pretty long video, I do apologize for this, but I kind of want to give you guys a know of what I'm doing now. Following those races, I'm probably not going to do much in terms of the game is in the World Championship mode yet. I may do Pro Season just to have a look at it. I might do my first look at Pro Season. But I think with World Championship I'm going to wait. And here's why. Mana's not in the game from the start. And apparently with the first update for the game, Mana will be introduced. So I kind of want to do my World Championship mode playthrough, because I will be playthroughing it. I almost exactly like my FIFA thing. I'll explain more about it in a second. But basically, Mana aren't in the game from the start, and it's funny because they were there, they were in Australia, but I guess they didn't take part, and then they also took part after that. I think Bernie Ecclestone didn't want Manor in the game or some bollocks. You know, it's not, that's not really, well, I guess it is his decision in a sense, but he should just fucking step down personally. But anyway, Manor aren't going to be in the game from the start. They're going to be added in later. I don't really want to do a championship mode playthrough if the whole field's not there. It just wouldn't feel authentic to me. So I'd rather wait till Manor's in the game and then start my World Championship mode playthrough from there. Now, here's down how this is going to work. I don't think I'm going to self-commentate everything. I think I'm going to only broadcast style commentate on the qualifying sessions. Because apparently, from what it looks like, you are now able to finally watch other drivers on the track. Say in F106, there's this watch session option. You can apparently do that with F1 2015 this year. So I think it would be a good thing to do self-commentary at least on the qualifying sessions. The qualifying sessions aren't that long. They're about they range from about 18 minutes in Q1 to 12 minutes in Q3. So, you know, it's the videos aren't going to be absolutely long, and it would be doable because I've been able to talk over the other drivers on the track and then actually talk about as myself comes out. But that's probably the only thing I'm going to do it for, because the races, obviously, the races just focuses on yourself, you know, and not the other drivers. There's no other way to watch the other drivers unless you go into replay mode, and I think if I did that, I was just doing a bunch of replays. Now, yes, I can do that. I can do that if I wanted to. I could maybe replay the start and then maybe go a few corners ahead like they do on TV. So I could do that. I'll experiment with it. But I think for the long haul, I'm just going to probably broadcast style commentate over qualifying, because that's the easiest thing to do without having the screen focus on you, and then you don't know what everyone else is doing. So I think it'd be pretty tricky to do that. So I think over qualifying is definitely going to be self-commentary broadcast style. Over the races and over practice, I might not even do practice. You know why? Why do a practice session? Really, so I might just do qualifying and races, which means the videos won't really be clogged up. Obviously, you'll get the 3 qualifyings and then the race. So that'll be my 4 videos, pretty much. You know, because the 3 qualifying sessions and then the race will obviously be edited. In terms of skipping parts that something doesn't happen, I can do that, and I'll take my time with it, and I'll try to get the best stuff possible for those races, because I don't want to do full races. I mean, I want to do full races, but I don't know if that would break the Elgato. I don't know if you could record for 2 hours straight. I guess you can, because I think I did that for streaming once, but I'll see what I can do. But that's kind of the rough idea. Day 1 is to do a few races, kind of see how it works, how the physics work, kind of talk to you guys about how I feel about it. And then, obviously, probably a bit of a break, probably go online, and then wait for the Manor update to come out, and then start my World Championship playthrough. Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now who I'm going to be, and then I'm going to see my reasons for being it. I'm going to be Sebastian Vettel. One, because obviously he's the guy I'm pretty much rooting for at the moment, aside from the British drivers. I mean, of course, I'm going to be British. I'm going to root for Lewis Hamilton, Jenson Button, and Will Stevens, or that would just be stupid. It would have felt really awkward if I wasn't supporting the British fans at the British Grand Prix. I was cheering for Seb. It would have been really awkward. A British guy cheering for a German driver at the British Grand Prix and giving no cheers to the British drivers. But that's not me, so obviously I'm going to support my guys as well as Seb. I can do that, you know, I'm allowed. And here's why I'm going to be doing it as Seb. I think a lot of the F1 YouTubers are going to be either Jenson Button or Lewis Hamilton. Let's face it. I think they might not be. I think some of them might be different, because obviously driving as Lewis Hamilton, it's probably going to be a bit easier, on the easier side, because of how dominant Mercedes are. So I guess not. I guess one of them could be Lewis Hamilton, one of them could be Button, one of them could be maybe Will Stevens. Who knows? But I'm going to be Seb. I think it's going to be nice to be different. I don't think a lot of people are going to be picking anything other then maybe a Williams, maybe somewhere. McLaren, I think ours is going to be Jenson Button. Personally, I think Alex might be Hamilton. I'm not sure. He might be. So you know, I'm going to be kind of different to the big F1 YouTubers and pick Sebastian Vettel. I think that would be cool for a World Championship mode playthrough. For pro seasons, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm going to do my day one impressions of it, but I don't think I'm going to do a playthrough. Really because of the manual gears, I think. Because obviously in pro season mode, what you do is that you're limited to the cockpit view with all the assists turned off. So that's the racing line, traction control, manual gears, braking assist, steering assist, everything is turned off. Now I can do with every assist turned off, I can drive except for manual gears. I've always had a problem with manual gears. I just cannot drive with manual gears. I watched my friend who came over for the British Grand Prix weekend. He was the one taking us. He is a genius. He's absolutely flawless. He's pressing the buttons and he's short shifting, and it's great to watch him so up on the game. That's because he's really been playing almost every F1 game that's ever come out. Maybe even back in the old days before the PlayStation. So obviously he's grown used to manual gears. I always played with the manual gears on because I could never do them. I think it's something I'm going to try and do for the future. I'm going to try, maybe, but I don't think I'm ever going to be able to actually master the manual gears as well as some of the other guys can do them. That's just my take on it, I guess. I am obviously going to do my day one impressions, but I probably am going to do pro season mode, and I'm doing World Championship mode, which is basically the same mode, just with more assists turned on and stuff like that. So there's really no point doing the pro season mode if I'm going to do championship mode, which is kind of the same thing, just with not limited to cockpit cam and the assists turned off. But like I said, I play with pretty much the assists turned off anyway. Just the manual gearbox is the one I keep on. I keep on to automatic gearbox for the moment. But I'm going to try use this game to see if I can do that. So there is the plan. Sorry, this is a long drawn out video in a sense. But hopefully it was informative enough and I didn't talk complete gibberish. So there'll be no videos this week. I'm gonna leave everything blank. I'm not gonna upload anything. I may record Predator gameplay for Mortal Kombat X. I do believe he is out today. So if he is out today or tomorrow, I'm gonna record it, and then I'm probably gonna split that with F1 depending on what goes on in F1. I mean, I might do the practice sessions for day ones. Obviously with the new physics engine, I'm going to have to do that anyway. So I think for the day one footage, I'm actually going to put some practice laps in and just edit them out, like maybe a couple. And then obviously for championship mode, I'll do what I just explained. So obviously Predator comes out for Mortal Kombat X, so I'll record that when I can. But nothing will really go up until this Friday, because I want to give a bit of a gap. I wasn't going to upload anything over the weekend anyway, because I was barely going to be here. And we were scheduled to get up in the early hours of the morning, obviously, so I was never really going to do that anyway. So nothing will really go up till Friday, which is going to be nice for you guys because you don't have to be bombarded with videos and then I start something else. Like I said, I know episode 3 of Tales of Borderlands is out. I hadn't done it yet. I've recorded episode 4 of Game of Thrones, but I didn't want to do anything in the midst. I didn't want to be in the middle of episode 4 of Game of Thrones, for example, and then I have to put it on hold because F1's out. Basically, I am trying to be a bit more considerate about what I upload at what time, whilst thinking about what I'm going to be doing in the future. If there's some downtime, and if there's not anything else coming out, then I'll obviously upload something and it won't clash with a new game. You know, I'm trying to make things not clash with new games. Basically, that was the idea behind the most recent stuff. Alright, that's pretty much it, I think. I'm going to be out of here because I'm talking too long again. My apologies for that, and hopefully it was informative enough. I went really in depth with this one. I thought it was worth to do that anyway. So with that, I bid you farewell for now, everybody, and I'll see you on Friday for F1 2015. It's going to be hella fun. Can't wait. Peace out. Until then. There you guys.